Done 6 types of bank revetment at various rivers, scaled it to suit the particular river that we were doing. With this one here, it's called vertical logging. It's all in the handbook or whatever on the website, all the information about that. This river would have been 2-3 times the width. There was a lot of livestock access, a lot of bank erosion, and we put in these vertical loggings, and we've also planted up. So long term, because we've it fenced off, there's no livestock access, the roots of the trees will hold the bank in the future, and it hasn't flooded since. So this is a vertical loggle example of bank revetment. Patrick?
Just to add to that, folks, in terms of consideration of the river here, it's probably a bit more harder, on the harder engineering side of soft engineering with the vertical logging and that. So in terms of, we can see we've got the meandering river here and that, and I know you're going to get a certain amount of natural erosion on the bank and then the deposition on the far side. But in this particular instance, it was worth doing the revetment work because there was a lot of livestock poaching and access on it, so it was only accelerating the erosion. So it meant that it was a suitable site to get in and work on in particular. For example, why it's so strong here at this river, it will flood. That's a flood plain. In terms of a 1 in 1 year event, you know, a lot of people here are familiar with flood flows and that. You're talking, you know, you're getting 4 to 5 cube a second down that river on a 1 in 1 year event. So when you multiply that into your 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 100 year event, and potentially factor in climate change into that, it had to be something that stood up to it. And in the next site that we go to, it's a bit softer, it's a much smaller stream, so it suited the site far better. As part of our own project here with the Federation, with responsibility not just of putting in measures in this particular catchment that would suit the catchment, which they do, we also wanted to have demonstration of different sites, because we're trying to roll this out across the sector and the different catchments across the country once they get their integrated source protection plan produced. The value here was the likes of this has been replicated now actually in a groundwater system. I know there's a lot of people here that are thinking groundwater and bank revetment, but we've got karst groundwater with sinking streams over in Roscommon, and there's a lot of sinking streams that go down into the swallow holes and then the rise at the spring. Whenever those particular sources come under pressure, generally 2 to 4 units of turbidity knocks the system out of kilter. So they're trying to actually replicate this type of work now on the sinking streams within the catchment as a means of protecting against the groundwater, which is, I know it's a complicated system. That there's also other reasons why we do the revetment. The drinking water, as I talked about, the cattle encroachment and that. In this particular site it's flat, so you're not going to get a lot of probably diffuse losses, but there is sites across the catchment whereby those particular drinking points themselves, and the PIP maps actually would have modelled them and identified them, are actually where your preferential flow path now is contoured into the stream. So doing the likes of this bank revetment actually blocks off some of your flow paths.